Okay, picture this. You've made it. You're absolutely at the peak. Got the huge house, the recognition, that amazing career, maybe even, that flashy red Ferrari sitting in the
It's a
driveway.
dream, right,
Yeah,
by every external measure.
exactly. Success personified. But then, bam, it just collapses. Not quietly either. Right out in the open, a huge public spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
Your body just quits.
Mm-hmm.
A massive wake-up call, screaming that all that external stuff, it's left you totally empty inside.
Wow. Yeah, that really paints a picture.
It absolutely does. And that striking scene really sets the stage for our deep dive today. We're jumping into Robin Sharma's really impactful book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
A classic.
It is. And just to be clear, our source material for this discussion isn't the original book itself, but actually a super detailed, chapter-by-chapter review of it. It's packed with the key insights and summary.
So we're getting the distilled wisdom, essentially.
That's the plan. Our mission here is to pull out the most crucial bits of knowledge, the really surprising facts from Julian Mantle's incredible journey. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding this powerful story of personal transformation.
Sounds great.
So we'll follow Julian. He starts as this high-flying lawyer, completely drowning in work, obsessed with his possessions. Yes, including that famous Ferrari.
The symbol of it all.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then we see him go through this radical, almost unbelievable change. He becomes, well, radiant, calm, youthful, like a monk, basically.
Which leads to the big question.
The burning question. How on earth did he find that kind of peace? How did that happen?
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating, I think. It's way more than just a narrative.
Right.
It really digs into life transformation, personal mastery, finding that elusive balance, figuring out your purpose. The book takes these, practical but also quite philosophical lessons and shows how relevant they are for anyone trying to navigate modern life, looking for something deeper than just, ticking boxes.
Okay, let's dive right into Julian's story then, starting with that moment everything changed, that collapse,
The wake-up call.
the ultimate wake-up call.
Yeah.
He's Julian Mantle, top of the legal world. He has the wealth, the fame, all the stuff. And then, right in the middle of a courtroom, a massive heart attack.
It's dramatic, but it immediately establishes that core warning of the book, doesn't it?
What's that?
That chasing external success, the money, the status, without looking after your inner world, your health, your balance, it often leads straight to emptiness or even crisis.
Yeah, like Julian's heart attack.
Exactly. His collapse shows that contrast so starkly. The outward success versus the inner bankruptcy. It's something I think a lot of people can relate to, even if not quite so dramatically.
Absolutely. That feeling of, is this all there is?
Yeah.
Even when you seem to have everything.
Right. It hooks you emotionally because it touches on that common modern experience.
And then what happens next is almost as startling as the collapse itself. Julian just vanishes.
Poof.
Disappears completely from public view. No explanation. But then years pass and the narrator bumps into him again.
And the change is just shocking.
Totally astonishing. Julian isn't just better, he's glowing. He's calm, looks incredibly young, almost like a different person, like a monk.
Which immediately makes you lean in and think, how? What happened in those missing years?
Exactly. It sets up that central mystery.
And that transformation itself delivers a key insight right away. Huge radical change is possible. But crucially, it starts with being willing to change. That internal shift has to happen first.
Okay, so the willingness is there. What was his first actual step? The book reveals it was pretty drastic.
Oh, incredibly drastic. He sold everything. The house, the possessions, the whole lot. And yes, crucially, he sold his beloved Ferrari.
Wow, the Ferrari too.
The Ferrari too. Then he took the money and just left. Headed to India, searching for meaning, for answers. And that journey eventually led him high up into the Himalayas.
Selling everything, especially that car.
Yeah.
It's such a potent symbol of letting go.
It really is.
But does it always have to be that literal? I mean, for us listening, do we need to sell our Ferraris, whatever they might be?
That's a great question. And I think the deeper insight isn't necessarily about ditching all your stuff.
Yep.
It's about releasing the attachment to those things. Freeing up the mental and spiritual energy that gets tied up in wanting, needing, protecting external validation or possessions.
I see. So the Ferrari is symbolic of those attachments that weigh us down.
Precisely. Letting go of that attachment frees you up. Julian's act was extreme, but the principle applies to everyone. But what attachments are holding you back?
Okay, so he's in the Himalayas now, searching, and his quest eventually leads him somewhere pretty special, right?
Yes, it culminates in him finding the sages of Savannah. They're described as this almost legendary group of monks living high in the mountains.
Sages of Savannah. Sounds mystical.
It does. They're known for their incredible wisdom on happiness, health, purpose. The big questions.
And meeting them is obviously a turning point.
Absolutely massive. It really highlights this idea that sometimes the deepest knowledge doesn't come from modern life, but from ancient traditions, from introspection, from seeking out wisdom.
Right.
These sages become his mentors, and their presence gives the teachings this authentic, profound, almost mystical quality. It feels less like self-help and more like ancient truth.
So these sages, they start sharing their wisdom with Julian, and this becomes the practical heart of the book, doesn't it?
Exactly. He starts learning what they call the 7 virtues of enlightened living. This is where the how-to really comes in.
The 7 virtues. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like an overarching idea that ties them all together?
There is, and it's fundamental. It's the idea that self-mastery comes first.
Self-mastery.
Yeah. Mastering your inner world, your thoughts, your habits, your discipline is the essential foundation for achieving anything meaningful externally. You have to conquer yourself before you conquer the world, so to speak.
Got it. Master yourself first. Okay, so Julian's ready. He's found the sages. What's the very first virtue they teach him? Where do they begin?
They start right at the source, the mind. Virtue number 1 is mind mastery.
Okay. How do they explain that?
They use a really vivid fable. It involves a sumo wrestler wandering into this incredibly beautiful, lush, perfect garden.
A sumo wrestler in a garden. Intriguing.
It is, and the garden is a metaphor for your mind.
Okay, so what's the lesson?
The lesson, the key insight, is that your mind is like a garden. You have to actively cultivate it.
How so?
By planting positive thoughts, nurturing them, and constantly, diligently weeding out the negative ones. The worries, the fears, the cynicism.
Like pulling weed.
Exactly like pulling weeds. This simple allegory makes a really abstract concept, controlling your thoughts, feel very tangible and practical. It immediately makes you think, okay, what weeds am I letting grow unchecked in my mental garden?
That's powerful. Okay, so master the mind like a garden. What's virtue number 2?
Virtue 2 is all about purpose. They call it kindling your inner fire.
Inner fire. I like that.
Yeah, it focuses on discovering your dharma.
Dharma. What does that mean exactly?
It's often translated as your life's work, your true calling, or even your inherent duty or purpose. It's not just your job, it's the reason you're here, the unique contribution only you can make.
Finding your why.
Precisely. The book argues that having clarity on your purpose, your dharma, is what gives you the energy and resilience to push through challenges. When you know why you're doing something difficult, the how becomes much more manageable.
That makes sense. It's fuel.
It really is. And this virtue encourages you, the listener, to really reflect. What are my core goals? What truly drives me? What's my purpose?
Okay, mind mastery, purpose. What's next?
Virtue number 3 is about constant improvement. The sages teach the ancient art of self-leadership, which they call kaizen.
Kaizen. I've heard that term often in business contexts.
Right. It means continuous, never-ending improvement. The teaching here is to gently push your own boundaries every single day, to strive to be just a little bit better today than you were yesterday.
So not giant leaps, but small, consistent steps.
Exactly. The core insight here is that real growth, lasting growth, happens just outside your comfort zone. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It makes the idea of self-improvement feel less daunting and more like an ongoing, inspiring practice.
I like that. Small steps daily. Okay, virtue 4.
Discipline. The power of willpower.
Discipline. Always a tough one.
It can be. And interestingly, in the fable, this virtue is symbolized by something unexpected, a pink wire cable.
A pink wire cable.
Yeah.
How does that represent discipline?
Well, the idea is that individual strands might seem weak, but woven together they create immense strength. And the key insight is that self-discipline isn't something you're born with, it's built like a muscle.
Built like a muscle.
How? Through small, consistent, daily acts of willpower. The source material gives some great examples from the monks' lives, like waking up early every day to watch the sunrise, or undertaking periods of silence.
Simple things, but done consistently.
Exactly. They're not necessarily huge sacrifices, but they are daily exercises that strengthen that willpower muscle over time. Little wins build momentum.
Okay, that makes discipline feel more achievable. What's virtue 5?
This one is incredibly relevant for probably everyone listening. Time management,
Yeah.
or as the monks put it, treating time as your most precious commodity.
Oh, yeah. Definitely relevant. We all feel like we don't have enough time.
Right. And the monks teach Julian that to live fully, you must deeply respect time, seeing it not just as minutes and hours, but as life itself. Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's a sobering thought.
It is, and the practical insight here is pretty direct. Guard your time fiercely
Guard it.
by being intentional, by planning your days, even your weeks around your purpose, your priorities. It's a direct challenge to that feeling of being constantly busy but not actually achieving much.
Yeah,
It forces you to ask, where's my time really going? Am I investing it or just spending it?
that hits home. Okay, fiercely guarding time. We're up to virtue 6 now.
Yes, virtue number 6 moves beyond the self. It's about contribution.
Contribution, meaning.
Meaning the ultimate purpose of life, according to the sages, is found in serving others, in contributing to the greater good. They emphasize that deep, lasting fulfillment doesn't come from accumulation, but from giving selflessly.
So it shifts from personal growth to making a difference.
Exactly. This really elevates the whole philosophy. The book argues that life's highest purpose isn't just finding your own peace or success, but using your unique gifts and growth to serve humanity in some way. It connects personal transformation to a wider, more meaningful impact.
Wow, that's a powerful shift. Mind, purpose, kaizen, discipline, time, contribution. Is that all 7?
That covers the main 6 practical virtues. The 7th is often summarized as embrace the present, living fully in the now, savoring life's simple joys. But those 6 are the core pillars of action Julian learns.
Okay, so Julian absorbs all this profound wisdom. How does he actually weave it all together to find that lasting happiness, that radiant peace we saw?
Well, the key takeaway is that happiness isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a journey you create day by day. He learns to integrate these virtues into his daily life through intentional rituals and conscious choices. So, he actively masters his mind, he stays aligned with his purpose, he practices Kaizen daily, he lives with discipline, he respects and manages his time, he focuses on serving others, and he consciously embraces the present moment.
So it's the consistent practice of these virtues that leads to transformation.
Exactly. It's not just knowing them, it's living them. That's the framework the book offers for creating a deeply fulfilling life.
Thinking about the book overall, or at least this detailed review we're working from, it clearly comes across as very inspiring.
Oh, definitely. It's generally easy to read, filled with practical nuggets and timeless ideas, all wrapped up in that engaging story format.
Right, the story makes it accessible.
Absolutely. But it's also fair to point out its potential limitations.
Such as?
Well, some people might find parts of it a bit repetitive, and because it has such a strong spiritual orientation, it might feel a little idealistic or less concrete if you're looking for purely pragmatic, step-by-step, business-like advice.
Yeah, it's not a productivity hack manual.
Not at all. It's much more of a spiritual guide, aiming for a deeper transformation. You have to be open to that philosophical, slightly mystical approach.
So considering that, who is this deep dive? And by extension, the book's core message really ideal for?
I'd say it's really for anyone out there who's feeling a bit lost or unfulfilled in the hustle of modern life. Anyone seeking a clearer sense of purpose, better balance, and some, practical spiritual guidance.
I'm looking for a personal reinvention, maybe.
Exactly. It offers a pretty compelling framework if you're ready for that kind of shift.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, really diving into Julian Mantle's incredible journey from burned-out lawyer to radiant monk and exploring those 7 core virtues he learned from the sages.
The mind like a garden, finding your purpose, kaizen, discipline, time, contribution.
Yeah, take a moment to reflect on those key aha moments. For me, it's that idea of letting go of attachment. Julian selling the Ferrari is so dramatic.
It really sticks with you.
And also that concept of nurturing your mind like a garden. It feels so actionable. But remember, transformation doesn't necessarily mean you have to go sell your actual car, right?
Right. It's more about identifying your symbolic Ferraris.
Your symbolic Ferraris.
Yeah, one of those.
Those attachments, those limiting beliefs, maybe those habits or even relationships that are really weighing you down, keeping you stuck. What needs releasing in your life?
That's a great point. It makes it personal.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to really chew on.
Okay.
In this world we live in now, with constant emails, notifications, social media, just endless digital distraction, what does that virtue of guarding your time fiercely actually look like for you day to day?
That's a tough one.
It is. But consider this. How might committing to that one daily act of discipline, truly protecting your time for what matters, how might that unlock your own journey towards finding your purpose and maybe even finding that lasting happiness Julian discovered.